London Royal Guard. Changing of the guard Buckingham Palace tour. Best free things to do in London. The moment the plane touched down at Heathrow Airport, there was a flutter of excitement in their chest. The city felt alive, even from a distance. The streets were a mix of modern cars, double-decker buses, and classic black cabs, all moving in harmony, as if each had its own rhythm. Alex felt like they had stepped into a storybook that had come alive. Every corner promised something new, and every street seemed to whisper tales of the past. After navigating through the airport and collecting the luggage, Alex boarded the tube. The underground train was crowded, filled with commuters, tourists, and people in a hurry. But the atmosphere didn't feel chaotic. Instead, it was full of energy. Alex found a spot near the door and pressed against the glass, staring at the tunnel walls flashing past. Maps and signs adorned the station walls, some historic and some modern, showing a city that embraced both its past and its present. The train slowed as it approached Green Park Station, and Alex's anticipation grew. Today was not just any day. It was the day they would witness the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace. As Alex emerged from the station and stepped out into the sunlight, the city felt different. The air was crisp, carrying a hint of winter freshness mixed with the faint smell of roasted chestnuts from a nearby street vendor. Crowds of people were walking in every direction, yet the streets weren't overwhelming. Tourists with cameras, families with small children, and even a few cyclists weaving between the pedestrians made the scene lively. Alex followed the flow of people, moving toward Buckingham Palace but with eyes wide open, soaking in every detail. The first glimpse of Buckingham Palace was breathtaking. The palace loomed ahead, its pale stone facade gleaming under the soft sunlight. Flags fluttered gently in the breeze, and the grand gates stood tall, guarding the residence of the Queen. Alex paused for a moment, simply admiring the architecture. Every window, every column seemed to hold centuries of history. The palace wasn't just a building. It was a symbol of tradition, a place where generations of monarchs had lived, worked, and made decisions that shaped a nation. Standing there, Alex felt both small and part of something much larger, connected to history in a way that was almost tangible. As Alex moved closer, the crowd thickened. People from all over the world had gathered, some chatting excitedly, some quietly waiting. Street performers entertained tourists nearby, playing cheerful tunes on violins and guitars, adding a lively soundtrack to the scene. Vendors sold souvenirs, miniature guards, postcards, keychains, and hats resembling the famous bearskin worn by the royal guards. Alex couldn't help but smile at the variety of people. Some dressed casually in jeans and jackets, others more formally, perhaps having come straight from work or a day tour. Everyone, no matter their background, was drawn here by the same fascination, the changing of the guard, a ceremony known worldwide for its precision, tradition, and pageantry. Finding a spot along the railings, Alex tried to get a good view. The excitement was contagious. People were talking in different languages, taking selfies, and pointing toward the palace gates as if communicating without words what they all felt. Awe. Alex observed a young couple, holding hands and whispering to each other, clearly excited about their first visit to London. Nearby, an elderly woman with a camera around her neck adjusted her lens carefully, capturing every detail of the scene. Alex realized that everyone was here not just to see a ceremony, but to feel the connection with history, to witness something that had been performed for hundreds of years. Time seemed to stretch as they waited. Alex noticed the smaller details around them. The polished shoes of the guards standing silently near the gates earlier, the crispness of their uniforms, the way they held their rifles with perfect posture. Even in waiting, there was a sense of anticipation that made the moment feel special. Alex's eyes wandered to the Victoria Memorial in front of the palace, a magnificent statue surrounded by golden ornaments. Tourists climbed the steps carefully, taking pictures and marveling at the intricate details. Children ran around, laughing and playing, while pigeons scattered in every direction. It was a scene of organized chaos, yet it felt peaceful at the same time, a perfect blend of history, nature, and everyday life. Alex took a deep breath, feeling a mix of excitement and calm. The air smelled faintly of blooming flowers from the nearby gardens and freshly cut grass, adding a serene layer to the busy surroundings. Every so often, the distant sound of drums or marching could be heard, and Alex's heart skipped a beat, thinking it might be the first sign of the changing of the guard. The sense of history, combined with the everyday hustle of London, made the moment almost magical. It was like being part of a story that had been written centuries ago, yet was happening right now, in front of Alex's eyes. People around Alex started to adjust their positions, cameras ready, anticipation building. Some had brought picnic blankets, sitting on the edges of the park, chatting softly. Others were standing, craning their necks for a better view, their eyes sparkling with excitement. Alex watched the interactions among the crowd and noticed a subtle sense of respect. Everyone seemed aware that this ceremony, while tourist-friendly, was also a significant tradition. There was no shouting or pushing, only a shared eagerness to witness something special, something that connected them all to a culture larger than themselves. As the first notes of music floated in the air, Alex's excitement grew. The sound of a distant drumbeat and a fife created a rhythm that matched the pulse in Alex's chest. People shifted, and the crowd grew quiet, sensing that something important was about to begin. Alex looked around and saw the expressions of people, wide eyes, smiles, and the occasional gasp. Everyone seemed aware that they were witnessing more than a show. They were witnessing history, tradition, and precision coming together in a display that had been performed for generations. In that moment, Alex felt a mixture of emotions. There was awe at the sheer scale and grandeur of Buckingham Palace, admiration for the discipline of the royal guards, and excitement at being part of a global tradition. But there was also a personal feeling, a connection to the city, its people, and the centuries of stories that had unfolded here. London was not just a destination, it was an experience, and Alex was fully immersed in it. The sun continued to shine softly, casting a golden glow over the palace gates and the surrounding gardens. Every detail seemed to matter: the slight rustle of the guards' uniforms, the distant call of a bird, the gentle chatter of the crowd. Alex adjusted the camera, trying to capture the moment but realizing that no photograph could fully contain the feeling. It was a memory, a living experience, something that would stay in the mind long after leaving London. As the first steps of the new guards echoed in the distance, Alex felt a thrill of anticipation. The moment they had been waiting for was almost here. Every story they had read, every video they had watched, seemed to come alive in front of them. London, with its mix of history and modern life, had revealed its charm in small, quiet ways: the smell of the air, the energy of the crowd, the beauty of the palace. And now, it was about to show its grandest spectacle. Alex tightened their scarf, adjusted their bag, and took a final look around. The experience was more than just sightseeing. It was a journey into the heart of London. Every step, every glance, every sound contributed to the anticipation of the moment. And as the first clear signals of the ceremony approached, Alex felt ready, fully present, and excited to witness the changing of the guard. A timeless tradition that combined history, discipline, and culture in a way that only London could offer. Standing there, Alex realized that this was more than a tourist attraction. It was a moment that connected the past and the present, the city and its people, the observer and the observed. And in that quiet, powerful understanding, the story of London, its guards, and its royal history began to unfold before Alex's eyes, promising memories that would last a lifetime. As Alex stood waiting, The excitement in the air seemed to grow with every passing moment. The crowd shifted slightly, eager for the first sight of the royal guards. Children pressed close to their parents, their eyes wide with anticipation, while tourists adjusted cameras and phones, trying to capture every possible angle of the historic event. The atmosphere was charged, yet peaceful. Despite the number of people gathered, everyone seemed aware of the significance of the ceremony. No one pushed or shouted. Instead, there was a shared understanding that they were about to witness something very special. Alex glanced around, observing the diversity of the crowd. There were tourists from all over the world, some speaking English, others speaking languages that Alex could not recognize. Families, friends, solo travelers, and couples all stood together, united by curiosity and admiration. Everyone had their own reason for being there, yet all were focused on the same thing. It was a rare moment of unity, where strangers shared the same sense of awe and respect. Alex felt a warm sense of belonging among the crowd, connected to people they would never meet but whose emotions mirrored their own. The first sounds of music floated across the palace grounds, soft at first, almost hesitant. Then came the steady beat of drums and the sharp, clear notes of brass instruments. Alex's heart skipped a beat. This was the signal. The ceremony was about to begin. The crowd leaned forward slightly, craning their necks to get the best view. People whispered excitedly, speculating about the guards' movements, their uniforms, and the history behind the tradition. Alex could feel the tension and anticipation building, like electricity in the air. From the side, the old guard began to appear, marching with precise, measured steps. Their red uniforms were crisp and bright, and their tall bearskin hats seemed almost larger than life. Alex watched, fascinated, as they moved in perfect unison, their boots striking the ground with a rhythm that echoed across the courtyard. Every movement was deliberate, disciplined, and full of tradition. The sight was unlike anything Alex had ever experienced, a living display of history unfolding in real time. As the old guard approached the palace gates, Alex noticed the subtle details that made the ceremony so remarkable. Their expressions were calm and serious, yet there was an elegance in the way they held themselves. The rifles, polished to a shine, reflected the sunlight. The boots were scuffed from years of training, yet every step looked flawless. Alex realized that this precision was not accidental. It was the result of rigorous training, discipline, and pride in their role. The ceremony was not only a tradition for the tourists to enjoy, it was a duty, a representation of loyalty and service. The new guard was soon visible, approaching from another direction. Their uniforms were equally stunning, the red coats vivid against the backdrop of the palace. The crowd hushed slightly as they entered the scene, and Alex felt a thrill of excitement. The two groups of guards moved toward each other, a moment of transition that had been repeated countless times over centuries. The handover was the highlight of the ceremony, and Alex could feel the anticipation ripple through the crowd. Even though they had read about it and seen pictures online, witnessing it in person was completely different. Alex observed the careful coordination between the old and new guards. There was a rhythm to their movements, a silent understanding that each step, each turn had meaning. The ceremonial guards were trained to move flawlessly, and they did so with a grace that seemed almost choreographed. Alex noticed the meticulous attention to detail. The way rifles were carried, the angle of a hand salute, the slight tilt of a hat. Every gesture was deliberate, and yet it looked effortless. The combination of discipline and tradition created a sense of awe that was difficult to describe, yet impossible to ignore. As the ceremony continued, Alex became aware of the music accompanying the guards. The band played traditional marches, their instruments blending perfectly with the rhythm of the soldiers' steps. The music was more than just background. It added a layer of emotion, heightening the sense of history and importance. Alex found themselves swaying slightly to the beat, caught up in the moment. The sounds, the colors, the movement, all of it combined to create a memory that would last a lifetime. People around Alex were equally captivated. A young boy near the front whispered excitedly to his mother, asking questions about the guards and their duties. An elderly man adjusted his hat and nodded appreciatively at the precision of the soldiers. A group of friends, cameras raised, laughed quietly as they tried to get the perfect photo, yet they were careful not to disturb the ceremony. Alex realized that this shared focus was part of the magic. Despite being strangers, the crowd was united in admiration and respect for the tradition unfolding before them. Alex's attention returned to the guards themselves. There was a sense of pride and dedication in the way they carried out their roles. Each soldier seemed aware of the significance of the ceremony, not only as a performance for tourists, but as a representation of centuries of history and national pride. The precision, discipline, and attention to detail made the event feel almost sacred. Alex thought about the training these soldiers must have undergone, the long hours of practice, and the commitment required to perform with such exactness. It was a reminder that tradition is maintained through dedication and respect, not just ritual. As the old guard handed over their responsibilities to the new guard, Alex noticed the subtle changes in posture and movement. The ceremony was seamless, each step flowing naturally into the next. There was no confusion, no hesitation, only a perfect display of teamwork and discipline. The crowd reacted with quiet applause and murmurs of appreciation. Alex felt a sense of pride for having witnessed such an enduring tradition, understanding that this was not merely a spectacle but a living piece of history. The attention to detail extended beyond the guards themselves. Alex noticed the polished brass fittings on the gates, the clean cobblestones, and the perfectly maintained gardens surrounding the palace. Everything was meticulously cared for, contributing to the sense of importance and reverence. Even the smallest details seemed significant, reflecting a culture that valued precision, pride, and respect. Alex realized that every element, no matter how small, played a role in creating the overall experience. As the ceremony drew to a close, the guards continued their march, leaving the courtyard with the same precision they had entered. The music softened, and the crowd began to disperse, though many lingered, savoring the last moments of the event. Alex felt a sense of fulfillment, having witnessed the ceremony firsthand. It was more than a tourist attraction. It was a connection to history, tradition, and culture. The changing of the guard was a living reminder of the values and heritage that London upheld, and Alex felt grateful to have experienced it in person. After the ceremony, Alex wandered around the palace grounds, taking in the surrounding beauty. The Victoria Memorial gleamed in the sunlight, its golden statues catching the eye. Tourists climbed the steps to take photos, while others relaxed on the nearby benches, enjoying the serene atmosphere. Alex noticed the careful planning of the area, the open spaces, the garden paths, and the sightlines designed to give visitors a full view of the palace and its surroundings. Every element contributed to the sense of grandeur and history, making the visit feel immersive and meaningful. Alex also took time to observe the reactions of other visitors. Some were taking notes or sketching, while others simply stood quietly, reflecting on the experience. The variety of responses highlighted how personal and universal the ceremony could be. Whether through photographs, words, or quiet observation, everyone was engaging with history in their own way. Alex felt a deep connection to the city and its traditions, realizing that these moments were what made travel meaningful, not just seeing landmarks, but truly experiencing them. As Alex walked toward the edge of the palace gardens, they took a deep breath and reflected on the morning's events. The changing of the guard was more than just a spectacle of uniforms and music. It was a living tradition that connected the past with the present. It represented discipline, pride, and cultural continuity. Witnessing it firsthand had left an impression that words could hardly capture. Alex felt inspired, not only by the ceremony itself, but by the dedication and care that went into preserving it. The sun was now higher in the sky, casting a warm glow over the palace grounds. The crowds had thinned slightly, leaving space to move and explore. Alex took a moment to enjoy the peacefulness after the excitement of the ceremony. The gardens were quiet, with birds singing and leaves rustling gently in the breeze. Even in the midst of a bustling city, there were pockets of calm, offering a chance to reflect and absorb the experience fully. As Alex prepared to continue the exploration of London, they felt a sense of satisfaction. The changing of the guard had exceeded all expectations, leaving a lasting impression of elegance, precision, and history. The memory of the guards marching, the music, and the attentive crowd would remain vivid, a highlight of the trip that could be revisited any time in the mind. London had revealed a small but significant piece of its soul, and Alex was eager to see what other treasures the city had to offer. The morning at Buckingham Palace had been unforgettable. From the first glimpse of the palace gates to the final notes of the ceremonial music, every moment had been rich with history, culture, and emotion. Alex felt fortunate to have experienced such a meaningful tradition, understanding that the changing of the guard was not just an event, but a story told through discipline, precision, and pride. It was a memory that would remain vivid, a connection to a city and its heritage that would last a lifetime. The air around Buckingham Palace seemed charged with anticipation as Alex watched the scene unfold before them. The distant sound of drums grew louder, signaling that the ceremony was about to reach its most important moment. Tourists adjusted their cameras, children clutched their parents' hands, and even the pigeons seemed to pause, as if sensing the significance of the event. Alex's heart beat faster. This was the moment they had come to witness, the changing of the guard, a tradition steeped in history, discipline, and pageantry. The old guard moved with precise, measured steps, their boots striking the ground in perfect rhythm. The sunlight glinted off the polished brass of their rifles, and the tall bearskin hats cast shadows across their calm, focused faces. Alex noticed the way each soldier carried themselves, every movement deliberate and disciplined. There was an elegance in their stride, a combination of power and grace that made it clear these were highly trained professionals performing a centuries-old ritual. It was impossible to look away. As the new guard approached, Alex's excitement grew. Their red uniforms were bright and immaculate, the gold buttons shining under the sunlight. The new soldiers marched with the same precision, their movements synchronized perfectly with their comrades. The two groups met in the courtyard, and for a brief moment, time seemed to stand still. The crowd held its breath, waiting for the ceremonial handover, knowing that this was the heart of the ceremony. Alex felt a shiver of anticipation. This was history in motion. The handover began with meticulous attention to detail. The old guard saluted, and the new guard responded with exacting precision. Each movement had been practiced countless times, yet it looked effortless. The rhythm of boots on cobblestones, the sharp click of rifles, and the steady beat of the band created a symphony of discipline. Alex noticed the subtle nods, the quick adjustments of posture, and the careful coordination between the guards. Every small gesture mattered, contributing to the seamless flow of the ceremony. Alex's eyes were drawn to the expressions on the soldiers' faces. There was a sense of pride, focus, and calm determination. They were not merely performing for the crowd. They were honoring a tradition that represented loyalty, duty, and history. Each soldier seemed aware of the centuries of guards who had performed this same ritual, and the weight of that legacy was visible in their posture and movements. Alex realized that this was more than a show. It was a living connection to the past. The band played with skill and precision, filling the air with music that added drama and emotion to the scene. The sound of trumpets, drums, and brass instruments created a rhythm that perfectly matched the soldiers' march. Alex could feel the vibrations in their chest as the music echoed through the courtyard. The ceremonial tunes were powerful, yet refined, and they seemed to tell a story of pride, tradition, and history. It was impossible not to be swept up in the moment, to feel part of something larger than oneself. The crowd reacted with awe and quiet admiration. Phones clicked as tourists captured photos, but there was a sense of respect that prevented loud chatter or interruptions. Children leaned forward, whispering questions to their parents about the guards and their role. Elderly visitors nodded in appreciation, recognizing the skill and dedication required for such precision. Alex observed the diversity of reactions, understanding that this ceremony spoke to people in many ways. Some were fascinated by the history, some by the discipline, and some simply by the beauty and color of the uniforms. Alex's attention shifted to the small details that made the ceremony so extraordinary. The rifles were polished to perfection, the boots shone despite the cobblestone streets, and the bearskin hats seemed to tower even taller than they were. Each step was measured, each turn synchronized. The guard's eyes remained focused, scanning the surroundings with quiet alertness. Alex noticed the way the sun caught the gold accents on the uniforms, creating a dazzling contrast against the deep red fabric. Every visual detail added to the sense of spectacle, making the experience unforgettable. As the ceremony progressed, Alex became aware of the discipline involved. The guards moved without hesitation, without error. There were no mistakes, no unnecessary movements, only precision. Alex thought about the training required to perform at such a level. Hours of practice, strict routines, and unwavering focus must go into every performance. It was clear that this was not just about appearance. It was about duty, responsibility, and respect for a tradition that had lasted for centuries. The ceremony was a reminder that dedication and discipline could create something truly extraordinary. The crowd was fully engaged, hanging on every movement. Alex noticed the occasional camera flash, the gentle applause after certain maneuvers, and the quiet murmurs of admiration. Even without words, everyone in the audience seemed to communicate a shared sense of wonder and respect. Alex felt a deep connection to the people around them, realizing that this event transcended nationality, age, and background. The changing of the guard was a celebration of history, culture, and human dedication, bringing people together in a shared experience. As the old guard prepared to leave, Alex could see the final movements executed with the same exacting precision as the opening. The salute, the march, and the final positioning were all carried out flawlessly. The new guard took their positions with confidence, completing the transition seamlessly. Alex watched, fascinated by the coordination and timing. Every detail mattered, and nothing was left to chance. It was a demonstration of perfection achieved through careful planning, training, and respect for tradition. Alex took a moment to look around at the surrounding area. The palace gardens were immaculate, with green lawns and carefully trimmed hedges. The Victoria Memorial glinted in the sunlight, a beautiful reminder of history and achievement. Tourists and locals alike lingered in the area, enjoying the atmosphere and taking in the sights. Alex noticed how the layout of the grounds allowed everyone to view the ceremony without obstruction, a thoughtful design that enhanced the overall experience. Every aspect of the setting seemed carefully considered, contributing to the magic of the moment. The music began to soften as the ceremony concluded, but the impact lingered. Alex could still feel the rhythm in their chest, the excitement of the moment echoing in their mind. The crowd began to disperse slowly, yet many stayed to take photos or simply watch the palace for a few more minutes. Alex felt a mixture of exhilaration and calm, having witnessed something truly unique. The changing of the guard was more than a performance. It was a living tradition that connected the past and present, discipline and beauty, duty and spectacle. As Alex walked through the grounds, they reflected on what they had just seen. The precision, discipline, and history were awe-inspiring. Each movement of the guards had meaning, and every detail had been carefully executed. The ceremony was not just for tourists. It was a symbol of dedication and respect for heritage. Alex felt grateful to have been part of the experience, understanding that some moments in life were rare and unforgettable. The memory of the guards marching, the music, and the sense of tradition would remain vivid for years to come. Alex also took time to observe the other visitors. Some were sharing stories with friends, describing the details they had noticed. Others were quietly sitting on nearby benches, reflecting on the spectacle. Children were laughing and playing, inspired by the bright colors and music. The variety of responses highlighted how personal and meaningful the ceremony could be for different people. Alex realized that history was not only about facts and dates, but about experiences that could touch the heart, inspire awe, and create lasting memories. The sun climbed higher, casting soft shadows across the palace grounds. The air was fresh, carrying the faint scent of flowers from nearby gardens. Alex took a deep breath, feeling completely present in the moment. The ceremony had been perfect, yet the surroundings added to the sense of wonder. The combination of music, movement, architecture, and people created an atmosphere unlike any other. It was a reminder that some experiences were greater than the sum of their parts, where every element worked together to create something truly special. As the crowd slowly began to disperse, Alex took one last look at the guards, who were now marching away with the same precision they had displayed throughout the ceremony. The rhythm of their steps, the shine of their uniforms, and the discipline in their movements were all etched into Alex's memory. It was a moment of beauty, tradition, and pride. London had shown its heart and history in a way that could not be replicated anywhere else, and Alex felt privileged to have witnessed it firsthand. Walking away from Buckingham Palace, Alex reflected on the morning. The changing of the guard had been everything they had hoped for and more. It was not just a spectacle of uniforms and music. It was a living story of dedication, history, and culture. Every detail mattered, from the polished boots to the precise movements, to the careful coordination between the guards. Alex knew that this memory would remain vivid, a reminder of the magic and history of London, and of the importance of tradition and pride in one's work. By the time Alex left the palace grounds, the city felt even more alive than before. The sounds, sights, and experiences of the morning had created a sense of connection to the city and its people. London had revealed a piece of its soul, showing how discipline, tradition, and beauty could coexist in a way that was both impressive and inspiring. Alex walked toward the nearby streets with a feeling of fulfillment, eager to explore the city further, but carrying with them the memory of a ceremony that would remain unforgettable after the changing of the guard. Alex felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The ceremony had been everything they had imagined and more, full of precision, tradition, and history. But now, with the ceremony concluded, it was time to explore the surrounding areas and fully experience the beauty of Buckingham Palace and its gardens. Alex stepped carefully along the pathways, taking in every detail and noticing things that had gone unseen during the excitement of the ceremony. The first thing that caught Alex's attention was the Victoria Memorial, standing majestically in front of the palace. Its gleaming golden statues seemed to radiate sunlight, drawing the eye immediately. Alex walked closer, marveling at the intricate details of the sculptures. Angels, lions, and allegorical figures stood as symbols of courage, loyalty, and strength. The memorial was a reminder of history and achievement, connecting the modern-day palace to the monarchy's legacy. Alex imagined the thousands of visitors who had admired this memorial over the years, each person taking a moment to reflect on its beauty and meaning. As Alex moved around the memorial, they noticed the way the sunlight played on the stone steps and the surrounding gardens. Green lawns stretched in every direction, dotted with carefully trimmed shrubs and colorful flower beds. People strolled slowly along the pathways, taking photographs or sitting on benches to enjoy the calm atmosphere. Birds chirped from the trees, adding a soft, natural soundtrack to the experience. Alex felt a sense of peace and tranquility, a contrast to the excitement of the morning ceremony. Here, London revealed another side of its charm, quiet, serene, and welcoming. Curious to explore further, Alex wandered toward the palace gates. Even from this distance, the grandeur of Buckingham Palace was impossible to ignore. The stone facade, with its tall windows and decorative columns, conveyed elegance and strength. Alex imagined the palace during different times of history, filled with kings, queens, and courtiers moving through its halls. There was something almost magical about standing so close to a place that had been at the center of British history for centuries. Each step seemed to carry a sense of reverence, as if the ground itself had witnessed countless stories over the years. Alex noticed families and tourists engaging in a variety of activities around the palace grounds. Some were taking selfies, capturing the palace gates and the guards in the background. Others were sketching or journaling, trying to preserve their experience in a personal way. Children ran and played, their laughter adding a joyful energy to the peaceful surroundings. Street performers entertained small groups nearby, playing cheerful music that blended harmoniously with the natural sounds of the park. The combination of history, nature, and human activity created a lively, yet calm, atmosphere that made the area feel welcoming and alive. Exploring further, Alex walked toward the nearby Green Park. The park's wide pathways were lined with tall, leafy trees, creating a canopy of green that provided shade and a sense of calm. People were jogging, walking dogs, or simply enjoying the day. Alex followed a winding path along the edge of the park, noticing small details that made the experience unique. Flowers bloomed in carefully arranged patterns, benches were strategically placed for rest and reflection, and even the cobblestone paths were maintained with care. Everything seemed designed to make visitors feel comfortable while connecting them to nature and history. As Alex continued the walk, they found a quiet spot near a small pond, where ducks and swans swam gracefully. Children tossed small pieces of bread into the water, and the birds responded eagerly, creating ripples across the surface. Alex sat on a nearby bench, taking a moment to breathe and reflect. The morning had been exciting, filled with energy and spectacle, but this pause allowed them to appreciate the subtler aspects of London's charm. The combination of historical landmarks, natural beauty, and friendly public spaces made the city feel accessible and inviting. Nearby, Alex noticed the intricate designs of the palace gates, adorned with gold accents and intricate ironwork. The craftsmanship was remarkable, reflecting centuries of skill and attention to detail. Each time a tourist paused to admire the gates, Alex felt a sense of shared wonder. People from all over the world had come to witness the same beauty, each reacting in their own way. Some photographed the details closely, while others simply stared in admiration. Alex realized that these small moments, pausing, observing, and appreciating, were just as meaningful as the grand ceremony of the morning. Continuing along the perimeter of the palace, Alex explored the side streets and smaller pathways leading to lesser-known viewpoints. From certain angles, the palace appeared even more majestic, framed by gardens, trees, and the distant skyline of London. Tourists wandered quietly, taking in the sights without rush. Alex appreciated the opportunity to explore at their own pace, discovering hidden corners, and enjoying the subtle details that made the area unique. Every view seemed to tell a story, from the statues to the carefully maintained lawns, revealing the care and pride that went into preserving the palace grounds. Alex also discovered small informational plaques scattered around the gardens and pathways. These plaques offered historical context, describing the construction of the palace, the significance of the memorial, and the history of the royal guards. Alex read each one with interest, learning new facts and imagining the events that had taken place here over centuries. The educational aspect added depth to the visit, making the experience both enjoyable and enlightening. It was a reminder that travel could be both entertaining and enriching, offering opportunities to learn while exploring new surroundings. As the afternoon sun climbed higher, Alex noticed more visitors arriving, drawn by the palace's reputation and the beauty of the surrounding areas. Some joined guided tour, listening attentively as guides described the history and architecture of the palace. Others wandered independently, exploring at their own pace. Alex found it interesting to observe how different people interacted with the same location, some focused on photographs, some on history, and some simply on enjoying the scenery. The diversity of experiences highlighted how personal and meaningful a visit to Buckingham Palace could be. Alex's attention was drawn to the smaller details that might otherwise go unnoticed. Flowers in the gardens bloomed in vibrant colors, carefully arranged to complement the palace's elegance. Benches were placed to offer the best views, inviting visitors to pause and reflect. Statues and sculptures added a sense of artistry and culture, each one carefully crafted to convey meaning and beauty. Even the sounds of the city, the distant hum of traffic and the occasional bell from a nearby church, blended seamlessly with the natural and historical surroundings. It was a harmonious mix of urban life, nature, and history that made the area feel alive. Walking further, Alex discovered a pathway that led to a viewpoint overlooking the entire palace grounds. From this vantage point, Buckingham Palace appeared even more impressive. The symmetry of the architecture, the layout of the gardens, and the presence of the Victoria Memorial created a scene of grandeur and elegance. Alex stood there for several minutes, taking in the full view and feeling a sense of awe. It was a perfect spot for reflection, a place to absorb the history and beauty that surrounded them. The afternoon continued with quiet exploration. Alex wandered through small side streets, discovering quaint shops, cafes, and local attractions. The streets were clean and well-maintained, with historic buildings adding character and charm. Alex paused occasionally to take photographs or simply admire the architecture. The sense of discovery was exciting. Each turn revealed a new detail, a hidden gem, or a quiet spot to rest and enjoy the atmosphere. London felt like a city of endless opportunities, where every corner held something special waiting to be discovered. At one point, Alex returned to the palace gates to watch the guards from a different perspective. From this angle, the precision and discipline of the guards were even more evident. The way they moved, the way they stood, and the way they interacted with each other reflected the high level of training and respect for tradition. Alex felt inspired by their dedication, realizing that every role, no matter how ceremonial it might seem, carried importance and meaning. It was a lesson in pride, responsibility, and respect for one's work. As the afternoon drew to a close, Alex found a quiet spot in the palace gardens to rest. The sunlight cast a warm glow over the lawns, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the trees. Birds sang softly in the distance, and the occasional laugh of a child playing nearby added a joyful touch. Alex reflected on the day so far, the ceremony, the gardens, the history, and the small discoveries along the way. Every experience had been memorable, each contributing to a sense of wonder and connection with the city. Alex realized that one of the best things about visiting Buckingham Palace and the surrounding areas was how much was available to enjoy for free. From the palace grounds and gardens to the memorials and viewpoints, There were countless opportunities to explore without spending a penny. The experience was rich, immersive, and educational, showing that the true value of travel was in the experiences, not the cost. Alex felt grateful for the opportunity to witness such beauty and history firsthand, understanding that these moments were what made the trip unforgettable. As the sun began to lower, casting long shadows across the palace grounds, Alex prepared to leave for the next adventure. The memories of the morning ceremony and the afternoon exploration were fresh and vivid, forming a collection of experiences that would last a lifetime. London had revealed itself as a city of contrasts, bustling yet peaceful, historic yet modern, grand yet accessible. Alex felt a sense of fulfillment and excitement, eager to continue discovering what else the city had to offer. As the day began to wind down, Alex found a quiet spot near St. James's Park, just a short walk from Buckingham Palace. The gentle rustle of leaves in the trees and the soft calls of birds created a calm atmosphere that contrasted beautifully with the excitement of the morning. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the cool, fresh air fill their lungs, and let themselves sink into the experience of reflection. Today had been a day full of sights, sounds, and emotions, and Alex wanted to savor every memory before the evening came. Sitting on a wooden bench overlooking the park, Alex watched families and friends stroll along the pathways. Children laughed as they fed the ducks and swans, while joggers passed by with a steady rhythm. Tourists paused occasionally to take photographs of the park's vibrant scenery, and a few people quietly read books under the shade of the tall trees. Alex felt a sense of harmony in the scene, noticing how the park seemed to offer something for everyone. There was energy, life, and movement, yet also moments of peace and contemplation. It was a balance that made the experience of visiting London feel complete. Alex's thoughts drifted back to the morning when the changing of the guard had first begun. Every detail of the ceremony was vivid in their memory. The crisp red uniforms, the tall bearskin hats, the polished boots, and the precise movements of the soldiers. The rhythm of the drums and the stirring notes of the brass instruments were still echoing in their mind. Alex realized that witnessing the ceremony in person had been far more powerful than seeing pictures or videos online. The scale, discipline, and energy of the event could only be truly felt in the moment, surrounded by the crowd and immersed in the history of the place. The crowd during the ceremony had been diverse, filled with people from all over the world. Alex remembered the young family who had stood near them, pointing excitedly at the guards and explaining to their children the significance of the event. Nearby, an elderly couple had shared quiet smiles, clearly appreciating the tradition for its historical and cultural value. There were students with cameras, tourists reading guidebooks, and even local Londoners who had come to witness the event with pride. Alex had felt a sense of connection to all of them, realizing that this shared experience had created a moment of unity, even among strangers. Alex's attention returned to the palace itself. Buckingham Palace had been more impressive than they had ever imagined. The grandeur of its architecture, the symmetry of the gardens, and the beauty of the Victoria Memorial all combined to create a scene that felt timeless. Alex recalled walking around the palace grounds, observing the carefully maintained lawns and flower beds, and discovering the smaller details that often went unnoticed. The craftsmanship of the gates, the intricate sculptures, and the thoughtful layout of the pathways all spoke to the care and pride that went into preserving the palace and its surroundings. Reflecting on the day, Alex realized that the experience had been about much more than sightseeing. It had been an opportunity to connect with history, tradition, and culture. Every step, every glance, and every sound had contributed to a deeper understanding of London and its heritage. Alex felt grateful for the chance to witness a living tradition, to see the precision and dedication of the royal guards, and to explore the beauty of the palace grounds and surrounding parks. It was a reminder that the best travel experiences were often those that combined education, adventure, and personal reflection. As the afternoon light began to soften, Alex noticed the changing colors of the sky. Warm hues of orange and pink started to appear on the horizon, casting a golden glow over the palace and the park. The sunlight reflected off the Victoria Memorial, making the golden statues gleam even more brightly. Alex paused to take it all in, feeling a sense of peace and fulfillment. The city, with all its history, beauty, and life, had revealed itself in a way that was both inspiring and calming. It was a perfect ending to a day that had been filled with wonder and discovery. Alex's thoughts wandered to the small moments that had made the day so special. The laughter of children feeding the ducks, the careful placement of benches and pathways in the gardens, and the interactions of people from different countries and backgrounds all contributed to the richness of the experience. Even the street performers, who had played cheerful music near the palace gates, added to the atmosphere, making the surroundings feel alive and welcoming. Alex realized that travel was not just about the landmarks, but also about these small, meaningful interactions that made a place feel real and memorable. As they walked slowly through St. James's Park, Alex took note of the beauty around them. The trees were tall and strong, their branches forming a gentle canopy overhead. Flowers bloomed in vibrant colors along the pathways, attracting bees and butterflies. Small ponds reflected the sky and surrounding greenery, and the occasional swan glided gracefully across the water. Alex felt a sense of wonder at how the city had managed to combine nature and history so seamlessly. The parks provided a peaceful retreat from the bustling streets, yet they were connected to the heart of the city and its traditions. Alex found a quiet bench near the edge of a pond and sat down once more. They watched the water ripple gently as ducks swam by, and listened to the soft calls of birds in the trees. The sun's rays sparkled on the surface of the water, creating a shimmering effect that was almost magical. Alex thought about the people they had seen during the day, the guards, the tourists, the families, and how each had experienced the city in their own way. It was a reminder that travel was a personal journey, shaped by both the environment and the way one interacted with it. Reflecting further, Alex realized that the changing of the guard had been more than just a ceremony. It was a symbol of dedication, pride, and continuity. Watching the guards perform with precision and discipline had inspired a sense of respect and admiration. The ceremony represented centuries of tradition, and yet it remained relevant and engaging in the modern world. Alex felt fortunate to have witnessed it firsthand, understanding that such experiences offered more than just entertainment. They offered a connection to history and culture that could never be forgotten. Alex's mind wandered to the other attractions they had explored that day. Walking around the palace grounds, admiring the Victoria Memorial, and discovering quiet spots in the gardens had all contributed to a sense of completeness. Each step had revealed new details, from the carefully arranged flowers to the polished gates and intricate sculptures. Even the interactions with other visitors had added depth to the experience. Alex appreciated the thought and care that had gone into creating a welcoming environment for everyone, whether they were tourists, locals, or children, enjoying a playful moment in the park. The sun continued to sink lower, casting long shadows across the park. The warm glow of the evening light made the palace and gardens appear even more enchanting. Alex realized that this moment, like so many others throughout the day, would remain etched in their memory. The combination of history, tradition, natural beauty, and human interaction had created a perfect experience. London had revealed its soul in a way that felt personal, immersive, and inspiring. As the day came to a close, Alex began to prepare for the walk back to their accommodation. The city streets were still lively, but there was a gentle calm that accompanied the evening. Streetlights began to glow softly, casting warm light along the pathways. The distant sounds of traffic and conversation blended with the natural sounds of the park, creating a peaceful harmony. Alex felt a sense of gratitude for the day's experiences and for the opportunity to witness such a unique and meaningful tradition. Walking away from Buckingham Palace and St. James's Park, Alex reflected on the lessons of the day. The changing of the guard had shown them the value of discipline, dedication, and respect for history. The palace grounds and surrounding parks had demonstrated the beauty of thoughtful planning, care, and attention to detail. And the interactions with people from around the world had highlighted the universal appeal of culture, tradition, and shared experiences. Alex realized that travel was about more than seeing new places. It was about connecting with them, understanding their significance, and creating lasting memories. Before leaving, Alex took one last glance at Buckingham Palace, now bathed in the soft, golden light of sunset. The grand structure, the surrounding gardens, and the Victoria Memorial all seemed to glow with history and elegance. Alex felt a sense of fulfillment, knowing that they had experienced something extraordinary. The day had been filled with excitement, discovery, and reflection, offering a complete experience of London's charm, culture, and tradition. As Alex walked toward the nearby tube station, they felt a renewed sense of curiosity and wonder. London had revealed its beauty, history, and energy in a way that was both inspiring and memorable. The changing of the guard, the palace grounds, and the surrounding parks had created experiences that went beyond sightseeing. They had created memories and emotions that would last a lifetime. Alex carried these experiences with them, feeling a deep connection to the city and a desire to explore even more of its treasures. Sitting on the tube, heading back to their accommodation, Alex replayed the day in their mind. The images of the guards marching, the gleaming uniforms, the carefully arranged gardens, and the joyful interactions of visitors all formed a vivid tapestry of memories. The combination of ceremony, exploration, and reflection had made the day unforgettable. Alex realized that moments like these were what made travel truly special, not just visiting places, but feeling connected to them, understanding their significance, and appreciating their beauty. As night fell over London, Alex finally returned to their accommodation, tired but exhilarated. The day had been full of experiences that engaged the senses, inspired the mind, and touched the heart, from the changing of the guard to the quiet moments in St. James's Park. Every part of the day had offered something unique and meaningful. Alex felt a profound sense of gratitude for the opportunity to experience London in such a personal and memorable way, knowing that these memories would remain vivid for years to come. Alex settled into their room, reflecting on the journey so far. The city had shown them history, tradition, beauty, and culture, all in one day. The changing of the guard had been the highlight, but the exploration of Buckingham Palace and the surrounding parks had added layers of meaning and enjoyment. Alex realized that travel was about more than just checking landmarks off a list. It was about immersing oneself in the environment, noticing the details, and creating a story that was personal and unforgettable. As Alex closed their eyes that night, the images of the palace, the guards, the gardens, and the park lingered in their mind. The sounds of music, laughter, and nature echoed softly in their memory. Alex knew that this day had been one of the most remarkable experiences of their trip, a perfect blend of excitement, discovery, and reflection. London had shared its history and charm in a way that felt both personal and inspiring, leaving Alex with a sense of wonder, connection, and fulfillment that would last a lifetime.